Today we welcome County Manager George Wood to the studio, and I appreciate you coming in.
Glad to do it.
Always good to see you. George, we want to talk about, I want to start first of all asking you about the last brief commissioners meeting. I mean, they had the briefing and then we had a brief meeting, if you would.
Yes.
And there was a lot on our plate that day. We had a lot of things to do, in spite of the fact that the meeting was so short. But give us an idea of a couple of things the commissioners covered.
Well, we really just did primarily just some housekeeping type things, and that's why the meeting was so short. I think it was like 35 minutes. And then the rest of the day, of course, we took a tour of the old Carver High School down in Mount Olive.
What were we looking for there?
Well, the purpose of the meeting was that the school board had mentioned to us at a recent meeting where we were dealing with the architect selection for the new elementary school. After that meeting, one of the board members mentioned that they would be interested in disposing of the Carver School because technically it's still owned by the school board, rented to the town of Mount Olive for $1 a year. And we talked about that a little bit. They wanted to know if we had any interest in it because by state law, if they're going to dispose of school property, they have to give the Board of Commissioners the right of first refusal on it.
I see.
And I told them I didn't think we had any need for it, but that I thought the town of Mount Olive was using it pretty extensively, and in fact it put some grant money into it. And so I offered to call the town manager, Charles Brown, in Mount Olive and discuss it. And Charles was excited about the possibility the town might get it.
Right.
So what we decided was that I told him, I said, I'd like to come see it because I had never been down there. Well, as it turned out, as you know, we were having the portrait unveiling for J.D. Evans down at the library at 2 o'clock that afternoon. So we had some time, so we set up a tour at about 11 down there to go through the school. And that was the purpose, is to let our board members see what a great use Mount Olive is doing with that building. So I think where we're at now is I've reported back to Dr. Dunsmore that the town was supportive of that. And so I think at this point the ball's in the Board of Education's court as to hopefully releasing that over to the school. I mean to the town.
To the town.
So and I think that'll be a win-win for everybody.
Yeah.
But they've got a lot of things in there, and I think y'all went, so you saw everything. So that was the primary thing, and then of course we had the portrait unveiling, which was a very nice ceremony.
It was nice. Well attended.
Well attended. Yeah. I mean, we had to keep bringing chairs in, as you know, in the back of the room. I mean, it was standing room only in the community room down there, and I think that was a testament to former Commissioner Evans's impact in Mount Olive, and particularly on the library project.
He was, I guess, some people could, and I haven't heard this, but the first thing that comes to my mind is a bulldog. He's constantly going in and pushing and getting things done.
Yeah, from the stories I've heard, that's the key, is he kept pushing for it and made the case for it, and of course the result is there for everybody to see. It's a beautiful facility.
It is. Steel Memorial Library. We're very proud of it. And the town of Mount Olive really came together on that.
They did, and it's cleaned up that whole area there. I think it's been a big addition to downtown, particularly when you consider it was a derelict building.
Yeah, it was totally empty.
So from their perspective, it's cleaned it up. They did a beautiful job doing the Veterans Memorial Park across the street.
Yes.
They repaved the parking lot diagonally across from the library and the Veterans Memorial. So, I mean, they cleaned up 3 of the 4 corners there, and it's a nice job. Everything looks good.
We can't clean up the 4th because somebody lives there.
That's right. Well, it was in good shape.
We're going to leave them alone. But yeah, it was a great day, and the ceremony honoring J.D. Evans was magnificent. It was just a great event.
Yeah, it was.
And now that's the J.D. Evans room.
That's right. It's the community room is named for him, and of course the library is named for Dr. Steele, who started the first library there. Right. And so I thought that was very appropriate, and we certainly wanted to make it a nice ceremony. I think everybody was pleased.
Let's. I want to ask you about the sewer revitalization thing that came up here the other day.
What we're doing there, and we have filed the grant application today, as a matter of fact. And what we're doing there is the local government commission has had several meetings with representatives of the county, City of Goldsboro, Fremont, and Eureka, and they want us to do a possible regionalization / merger study on the sewer systems. As you know, Eureka's had some issues, Fremont's had some issues, and all the sewer ultimately ends up going to Goldsboro to be treated, except where Fremont can use their lagoons, and they're trying to do some work now to put those back in operation. But they're concerned, the LGC is concerned about the financial viability long term, so they wanted the folks in Wayne County to do a study on this. The county's agreed to be the entity that will hire the consultant to do the study. And the good thing is the LGC and some other parties at the state have some money for these types of studies. They encouraged us to apply, and we have done that. We've used our engineering consultant, Municipal Engineers, to help us. And they finished the application today. It's due the 30th, but I told them I wanted it in at least a week ahead of time. And the reason for that is Fremont will be applying for, I believe it's a $1.2 million grant to work on their sewer system. And our request to do the study needs to be in simultaneously. So I wanted to be sure that when their grant goes in next week, we already have our proposal to do the study in their hands. So we've done that.
Okay, and we expect to have a response to that?
It'll be very shortly, and it's for up to $50,000.
Okay.
And the whole idea is to look at, does it make financial sense to merge or regionalize all or a portion of these systems, including the county's small system in Genoa, which is a very small system, which again attaches to Goldsboro, and ultimately our effluent goes to their wastewater treatment plant as well. So this is not unusual. It's a growing trend, particularly for smaller systems, to merge into one system. Nobody's being forced to do it. It's strictly a study to see, does it make sense? And then the four entities will get back together after we do the study. But a lot of it really, Wayne, comes down to almost like a sewer rate study. Because if you think about it, you have four entities with four different rate structures for their customers. And what you've really got to look at to do a rate study is do at least a 10-year look at the capital improvements you'll need to maintain the system. And that's really what the Local Government Commission wants to see is, are these systems financially viable long term? Or does it make sense to merge them? And so that's the nature of the study.
It seems either way they decide, whichever way they decide, it would be a winner for everyone all the way around.
I think so, and I think we'll get some good information from that in terms of what are the long-range cost implications for everybody, each individual system, and then if you aggregate them, what does that do to the rates? Because remember, if you aggregate them, then you've got one customer base and one set of rates.
The contract we have with the city, what is the term on that? How long is that?
I read it when I first came here. I'm trying to remember. I think it's like 20 with an option to renew for more. And but our terms are the same as Fremont's in terms of the rate.
Okay. All right. What about the others? Are they higher or lower? Do you recall?
I'm not sure. Eureka's flow goes to Fremont, and they pay Fremont a certain amount, and then Fremont pays Goldsboro. So, but I don't remember what that rate is different between Eureka. But Eureka's retail rates are different from Fremont's, that are different from Goldsboro and us.
So it's just evolved into this. It's just kind of a.
That's right.
There's a lot of.
Well, the LGC's job is to oversee the finances of local governments and to make sure they can handle everything they've got and that they stay financially viable. So when they have concerns like that, they want us to address that.
All right. What about, how are we doing on the 911 system? Where are we standing?
Well, the 911 system is moving along nicely. We are doing two projects that tie into that. One is the fiber loop project, which will take fiber basically from the Jeffers building out to the jail. Now, we actually already have all of that part done. From the jail, it'll go to the 911 center. Then it will loop back down Herman Street, which of course is Wayne Memorial, back into town. So that gives us a looped system.
So Jeffers Building is on John Street, right?
Right.
John
that's right.
and Mulberry.
That's right.
All right, and from
And
there
so
out, it
basically,
goes out.
yeah, it won't go down William. It'll go down a side street, but
Right.
basically parallel William and then cut over.
Okay.
Then from there, the last part of that will not be a loop, but it will be a line going from Herman and actually Wayne Memorial at that point, and that will go all the way out to the Maxwell Regional Agricultural Convention Center, because we've got to get fiber out there. Because as you can imagine, if we have a large gathering, everybody today has a mobile device. You know, so you're literally going to could have thousands of people out there putting that kind of demand on it. So we've got to have a pretty robust infrastructure out there.
Well, you know, this past week we've had a lot of rain in the area, but it seems to be moving along pretty quickly out there. They have curbing down.
Yeah, they have curb and gutter down. They have put quite a bit of the sewer and drainage pipe in, and that's what they're working on now on the site work. As far as MRAC, we will be they've gotten the last bids in for the subcontractors, with the exception of 4 of them. We'll have those, I think, next week. Then we're going to have a meeting with T.A. Loving and the architect, hopefully nail all of that down, and should be ready to go to the Board of Commissioners on the 4th of October at our regular meeting and approve all of those contracts, and then we should know exactly what the total cost is going to be, unless we have any change orders. But one of the advantages of having a construction manager at risk is you've had somebody reviewing everything the architect's done on the front end. So hopefully with 2 different pairs of eyes on it, you've reduced the likelihood of a lot of change orders.
This is such an exciting undertaking. This is just going to be fantastic for all of Wayne County.
It really is. You know, and simultaneous with doing that, I'm working with the finance director and with our financial advisors on how much money do we have set aside and how much will we have to borrow. And we'll be doing a limited obligation bond sometime in January. And when we do that, we're going to be tying in some of the school projects, definitely the Meadow Lane Elementary School project.
Yeah.
So that's part of it. Is, you know, we've got plans on how we're going to pay for it and everything. Now we just got to execute and do the bond and actually get the money in here.
But what's amazing to me, what's brilliant to me, is just the way that this has been going all along. There's no taxes, no county taxes being raised for this. The money is not tax money. This is amazing.
Well, we were fortunate. We had some debt that had been issued about 3 years ago, which was 5-year debt. It was for some equipment purchases. And I knew that it would be coming off in a couple of years. And we keep debt service schedules year by year. So, you know, we can look at those and see what is our debt service going to be each fiscal year. And so you can look at that after you add it all up and see where are we going to be each fiscal year. Right. And so I knew that 2 more years out, it dropped like a rock, thank God. Yeah. So that's when we knew that we could fit all of this in without any problem.
Timing is everything.
It is.
Timing is everything.
So yeah, I think we've got to bridge it for a year, maybe a year and a half, which won't be a problem. After that, the amount of debt coming off is more than the amount of debt we'll have to add to cover all of this.
That's beautiful.
So we're very pleased with that.
Well, how are we doing on the detention center?
Well, the detention center is almost done.
Yeah.
We will be taking possession of that in late October, maybe early November. The sheriff wants some time after that to do some training with his people, and that's part of the contract with Mosley Architects. They have a division that does training on the facility, and also some of the specialized training that you have to do for jails in North Carolina. So they have a division of their company that does that, and in fact the guy who heads that up is a former jailer in North Carolina, jail administrator. So we'll be doing that. So it'll probably be sometime in December, maybe even January, when we finally actually open it from the standpoint of bringing inmates into it.
Right.
But they're on schedule. The schedule called for late October, and Daniels & Daniels is right on schedule.
Wow. that's fantastic.
Yeah, so we're very pleased with it, and we think we're getting a quality job. So I think that project is in good shape, and like I said, in about really almost about 5 weeks, we should be taking it over.
Wow, moving along very quickly.
Yeah.
You know, when you and I sit down here, we just cover a couple of things about what we want to mention, what we want to talk about. And sometimes we don't talk about what we want to talk about at all. And sometimes I throw you a curve, but let me throw you a curve.
Okay.
No, I wanted to ask you now. Tommy Burns moved on to bigger and what he said would consider bigger and better things, I guess, and did a fine job with us. But now, tell me about the new man that's coming in.
Well, what we're doing is we're bringing someone in as an interim assistant county manager while we do the search for a permanent one.
Right.
And so what we're doing is basically what the board did when I came is we've reached out to a couple of retired county managers, or assistant county managers, and I interviewed 2 of them, and my preference, and the board went along with that, is Phil Ponder. And I've known Phil for well over 25 years.
Oh, okay.
Phil retired about I think he retired in February of this year, and he had been the assistant county manager in Gaston County.
Okay.
Gaston is a county of a little over 200,000 people.
Near Charlotte.
Yeah, near Charlotte. He was the assistant county manager there probably 10 or 11 years. Before that, he was their finance director and budget director. He also has experience as a city manager in 2 North Carolina cities, and he's been an assistant city manager before that. So he's well versed. He has over 30 years of experience in local government, and the bulk of that as upper management in counties. The way Gaston was set up is he basically ran the day-to-day operations. And that's what I'm looking for, is helping
Somebody
run
to run the day-to-day? Okay, I got you.
operations. So at least for some of our departments.
I got you.
And so we're excited to get Phil here. He's agreed to come for 90 to 120 days.
Oh, great.
And that should give us sufficient time. We're already advertising the permanent position now.
Right.
And I would think within at least 120 days we'll have somebody ready to go on that.
Oh, that's great. Looking forward to meeting him. Phil Ponder.
Phil Ponder.
Interim assistant county manager.
Assistant county manager, and I think everybody will enjoy working with him. He's a great guy.
Great. All right. Well, coming from you, if you've known him 25 years, I guess he's probably all right.
He's okay.
He's okay. All right. County Manager George Wood with us this afternoon, bringing us up to date about everything going on in Wayne County, and we appreciate it so much.
Thank you, Wayne.
Thank you,
Appreciate it.
Right.